You didn't lift spats up high, you know. I mean, I don't know if you know much about the competition for the blue band, but they have,
Yeah, I tried out. I didn't make it.
they have training, man. You know, you have to, you may think you're playing good and not marching good.
Gotta get those high knees.
Or marching good and not playing good. And I had to carry a bass drum like this. So when I would come down, pictures, this is my band, Urban Fusion. This is my 1970 picture of the blue band. I was only African American, so it's easy to find me. And they probably have 5 or 6 now. What was it like coming here as an undergrad? It was kind of scary. Well, that was one of the early periods of history here, because prior to that they had 68 sit-in at Old Main. They had a program called Education Opportunity Program. So they recruited some African Americans, minority students from Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia. And then when I came in 1970, they recruited about 2,000 from Harrisburg, Philadelphia, and little towns like Chester, PA, Pittsburgh, you know. And so for me, it was the beginning of African American students as a minority impacting upon Penn State as a majority. Mostly bass drum. I originally was a flag carrier because in the blue band, there's like 12 or 15 people on the sideline waiting to get into the game. The march doesn't matter what position they're in: trumpet, trombone, saxophone.
There's only always one backup player, right? For every
They try to have a couple backup, because when I was in the band, it was only 120 people. Now you have 360, so that's 3 times as many people. And when I was in the band, it was all men. They didn't get women until my 3rd year. 2nd year, they got the majorettes. The 3rd year, they got women in. And the only reason they got women in the band was because Ed Checkeye was the athletic director, and he told Dr. Dunlop, who was against it, if you don't let women in the band, we're not going to pay for you to go to the bowl games and stuff like that. So I was lucky. I went to Sugar Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Orange Bowl. I marched in every game, and 3 parades: Cotton Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Orange Bowl. So yeah, I was pretty lucky, because I never anticipated. You know, we had Capoletti, Lionel Mitchell, Franco Harris. You know, I never anticipated that. But and my brother Winford, he came here and graduated from Penn State. And I had 3 kids that graduated from Penn State, and my daughter Andrea came back and graduated in hotel restaurant and then an MBA from Schmiel. My daughter Mia graduated in health and human development, and then she went to Temple for her master's in social work. And my son Drew graduated in health and human development. So I felt I did a pretty good job.
Penn State family.
Getting them through. I'm one of the founders of the Black Graduate Student Association that sponsored the Kwanzaa, and myself, Kathy Lyons, several other students founded it in 1986, because we were all in GSA, Grad Student Association, but the planning and programs weren't directed towards African Americans, like Kwanzaa and scholarship programs that are still in effect today, like the SHROP program, and bringing in more African American grad students as well as faculty and staff, which was also part of the Black Caucus mission. And when I was here in 1970, the group that came from Harrisburg in 68, 69, Swati, James Lomax, James Garner's his name, you know. And so their mission was to get more black faculty and staff. So they had a sit-in in 68 at the Old Main, and that was their issue. They did get black studies, and Dan Walden was one of the first, and Charles Davis, teachers of black studies, and he's Jewish. And there was some controversy about, do you have to be black to teach black studies? And the answer, in my opinion, is no, guy. But the passion that I have is for people to talk to each other and be kind to each other. You don't have to be nasty and expect somebody to want to work with you, you know. A diverse population, not just by quantitative numbers, but qualitatively, what kind of programs are you having? Now you have Latino sororities and fraternities, Asian sororities and fraternities. The first black fraternity here at Penn State in 1921 was my fraternity, Omega Psi Phi fraternity, founded in 1911 at Howard. And the Alphas in 1952 or 56, where the first African American to play football, one of the first, was Wiley Tripley, who was an Alpha, and they operated out of Belfast because they didn't have a chapter here. And I don't know if Denny Pollard was the other African American who was here. And so Wiley played on the 46 or 47 team, and that was a team that played in the Cotton Bowl. And I think it was SMU, and they said, we'll play you, but you can't bring your black players. It was 2. And in Penn State, supposedly the history goes, Suey said, hey, we're Penn State. You know, you don't tell us what to do. We're Penn State. And then it became, we are Penn State. You know,
Wow.
So they actually beat SMU, or either it was tied. And Wiley, the black player, was the one who scored the time run. So I always give athletes and musicians credit because they've always gone out front, played with minority musicians, played sports. Who would you say your cultural music inspirations? Earth, Wind & Fire, because I was so impressed. They even let us use their equipment. That was like a...
Oh, that must have been really awesome.
Yeah. We did a show with Curtis Mayfield, Mandrill. Curtis Mayfield's dad. Mandrill actually became the Gap band from New York. So I had a lot of influences: jazz, gospel, reggae, Latin. I had a Latin merengue band, Afro-Carib. We opened up for Earth, Wind & Fire at Rec Hall in 1970. In 1995, I came back. We opened up for Spiral Gyra. 1988, we opened up for Ziggy Marley at Rec Hall.
No way.
And we were the only reggae band still is. And Creed was the only soul band. You know, there's plenty of rock and roll bands, but I played with just about everybody that could play. So I think that was an influence. Are you working on any new projects currently? Well, I'm still with Urban Fusion. We're playing at Gigi's December 4th, 8 to 10. Most of the guys are retired now, so they don't like playing 10 to 2 at the bars and stuff. So, do you have any advice for young Penn State artists today? I guess it was easy for me to do all those things: campus patrol, blue band, fraternity, academics, because I was passionate about. Like if somebody said, "No, you can't do this," I would try to find a way to do it. If I wanted to do it.
Just to make it work.
I wouldn't just say, okay, I can't participate, you know. And we had a tough drill master in Dr. Dunlop. Well, the good thing I like is when I look back and I see photos of history that people don't even know about, because we don't have this posted up. I am up there for the Forum on Black Affairs, as I was past president, but I don't know, my frustration is that people could be more friendly to each other.
Absolutely.
And when they say we are Penn State, back then a lot of people didn't feel like it because they didn't feel they were treated like they were Penn State. But because I was in a lot of organizations, I always felt like I was Penn State.
Where you at?
I'm in Robeson Center. What's up? You guys going to dinner?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be there in about 15, 20 minutes.
What's going on in the Robeson Center?
I'm doing an interview for a student doing integrative arts on music and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that person that contacted?
Yeah, I did one yesterday for the Q's. They wanted to learn about how BGSA got started, Black Graduate Students, and I'm one of the founders, so they interviewed me for that.
Well, how much longer that gonna be?
I guess we're wrapping up, man. Yeah, we're done.
Well,
Where are you guys going?
to that new spot in 12 Trees, the field.
Oh, yeah. You want me to meet you there or come to the house first? What? Hello?